50 years ago, a tennis pro discovered that the voice in your head is ruining your performance. Today, I'm showing you what mind coaches do to combat this, how to learn skills faster and perform better under pressure. The podcast episode we're discussing is The Coach in Your Head from Michael Lewis's Against the Rules, one of my favorite shows. It explores a discovery that changed everything, from sports to business to firefighting. I love tennis. The feel of the ball hitting the strings perfectly, that impossible get, the perfect down-the-line backhand winner, that's my favorite shot. I started playing when I was 10. Tons of lessons over the years, hundreds of hours hitting serves and banging against the wall. I won a few big matches in high school, but I was never awesome. Never won the tournaments. Here's what killed me. I always had more fun and played better in practice than in the big matches when the pressure made my muscles tight. We all do this. Job interviews, presentations, creative work, we play tight when the stakes are high. When we're doing the very thing we train for, we're mediocre or even a disaster. Meet Tim Gallwey. In 1974, he published The Inner Game of Tennis, decades before the coaching boom. As a teenager, Gallwey was skilled and did well in junior tournaments. But like me, he didn't play his best in the big matches. So instead of going pro, he went to Harvard where he captained the tennis team. He studied education and became a teacher. During summer break, he taught tennis at a country club.
From the very instant the ball hits the court, I want you to say bounce.
One day, he was teaching a guy with a slice backhand who wanted to learn topspin. Instead of giving technical instructions, Gallwey decided to try an experiment. He stayed quiet, and he just tossed balls at the guy for 3 to 4 minutes. Suddenly, the guy was hitting perfect topspin. Gallwey's realization? Performance isn't about more instruction. It's about less interference. Next lesson, he had a complete beginner. He showed her how to hit the ball, but he didn't explain the technique. He said, "Shut your eyes and see yourself hitting the ball." She did, and she hit it perfectly. Everything he would have taught her, she did naturally. So what is mind coaching? It's helping people notice when their thoughts are creating tension, worry, or distraction, then redirecting their focus to what's actually useful. It's not about giving more technique, but eliminating mental interference. Here's an example of how it actually works. Michael Lewis's daughter, Dixie, was a competitive softball player trying to get recruited by elite colleges. Before she worked with a mind coach, her self-talk was brutal. She'd say things like, "Don't screw up. Don't look at your coach." Basically, everything started with don't. Then she worked with a mind coach named Ben, and he flipped that whole script. Instead of "don't screw up," he taught her to think loose and aggressive. And here's the key. He wouldn't give her usual praise or criticism because both of those just made her inner critic louder. When she focused on loose and aggressive, her muscles could actually work instead of being locked up by tension. Those don't thoughts were creating physical interference, tight shoulders, overthinking every movement. The positive focus let her natural ability flow. The method is simple. Redirect from negative to positive focus. Avoid judgment-based feedback, and focus on process rather than outcomes. So Gallwey decided to test this whole thing on himself. Now get this, he hadn't been playing competitive tennis in years, and definitely wasn't practicing as much as these serious players. But he entered some tournaments anyway to see if his method actually worked. And in his book, he describes this mindset shift he made. He said he started thinking about competition the way a surfer thinks about waves. You know how surfers aren't really trying to beat other surfers? They're going after the biggest wave they can handle, trying to ride it perfectly. That became his approach. Mind coaching has revolutionized performance training. Now you've got mind coaches working with firefighters, developing mental routines for high-stress situations. The head of AT&T actually brought Gallwey in when the phone monopoly was broken up, and Gallwey told him straight up, "You're the problem. The whole bossing people around style," he said, when you're a monopoly, you can be autocratic. But now they had to compete. Everybody needed to stop listening to their boss's voice in their heads. Here's where it gets personal. I've been trying to apply loose and aggressive to my daily mindset. I repeat it to myself in the morning. I'm telling myself this right now as I create this content at 1:30 in the morning, when my camera and my mic both keep crapping out on me. I want this video to be really good, but I need to stay loose. I need to try to make it great, but enjoy the process. The other day, I was teaching my 3-year-old son, Abe, to throw a frisbee. I showed him a few times and just said, "Watch me, and then do it." I didn't tell him to use his wrist. I didn't tell him how to hold it. But in a few minutes, he was kind of doing it. Likely way better than if I had tried to explain it. So here's the question to think about. What if you approached everything in your life loose and aggressive? Work, creative projects, difficult conversations. It would be a true superpower. Here's your challenge. Notice where you're playing tight this week. Are you so focused on not failing that you can't excel at what you're doing, even if it's something you're good at? And if you're teaching or helping someone else, your kids, coworkers, team members, try the Gallwey approach. Instead of giving them 10 technical corrections, ask them what they noticed. Help them focus on what's useful rather than what they're doing wrong. But here's the bigger challenge. Notice if you're getting tight about trying to be loose. If you're judging yourself for not being loose and aggressive enough, that's just more interference. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. Mind coaching isn't about being perfect. It's about eliminating interference so your abilities flow. Get loose. Stay aggressive. Stop torturing yourself and start enjoying the process. If this changed how you think about performance, subscribe and check out my video. Stop waiting to feel ready. It's about overcoming the mental barriers that keep us stuck before we even begin.